I forgot my spoon. All right. Yesterday, interesting day. Not all the expected outcomes we thought. First lock, Iowa State under. Played a 10-7 game, just what I was hoping for. Second lock, Notre Dame. They fucked up. They score. I mean, it was like weird, but they didn't do it. Morning, Eric. How are you? Well, morning class because we got games at 1, right? Pros. Third lock, Georgia under. What else is new? Down 14-3 at half. They win the game. That's what they do. Over under was 61, and they play a 24-14 game. Just what you expect from them. Hey, G. Good morning. We had Iowa State in 2 locks. One with Georgia under. The other lock was Notre Dame and Kansas. Where was their offense? It was a strange day yesterday. Oklahoma kills, Washington kills. And my question is, why didn't I lock Washington, or why didn't I lock A&M? I did call the Texas game right. I knew they were going to be flat. Alabama, oh my God, they look like crap. I mean, they're a terrible team. You beat a weak South Florida team. What was it, 17-3 or something like that? Colorado, what happened to them? They went to overtime with Colorado State. So what happens a lot is the expected outcomes because the players change. So I noticed a few teams changed quarterbacks, of course, which you wonder why. Colorado State did cover easy. That's not what was expected. Was Colorado would win by a lot because Colorado State had no defense. So, again, Colorado doesn't have a defense, which we know. They're going to be in big trouble next week. They're at Oregon and then home against SC. It's going to get ugly. Michigan played their game. They stayed under. Oregon got the over in the last 2 minutes. Hawaii got down at the goal line and scored to give me 65. Over-under was 62. Georgia Tech, Mississippi did go over. BYU beats Arkansas. Nebraska switches quarterbacks because the guy got hurt. And this guy looked pretty good, and you're wondering why. See, here's what I don't get. Why isn't the coach using the quarterback? Why does he start with the quarterback who sucks, and then he's got this other guy on the bench, and then he goes to him, and he looks great, and you're like, well, why didn't he use the other guy to start with? So that's always what happens. Like I was telling Bobby, Tennessee, Florida, why do you pick the hard games? Florida wins. He did hit LSU. He did hit TCU. I don't remember his fourth one. But that's what, I guess what looks like an easy game is not, and what looks like a hard game is not. But Notre Dame, I thought they'd get at least 50, and they kicked a couple of field goals, and I saw a lot of I was watching the highlights. There's a lot of 3rd and 10s, and you're wondering, well, what happened on 1st and 2nd down that they got 3rd and 10 against Central Michigan? Anyway, so enough of that. My favorite play, I have James Madison. Which one? I have James Madison over Troy. James Madison wins. I love it. And I have it today in a teaser with Kansas City over, which was the free play. Put out a new lock yesterday, a pro lock. So what I do is I look early. So I play Iowa State under on like Monday because I know the line's going to go down, and it did. It went from like 45 down to what, 42 or whatever. And they play at 10-7. Gee, that's why I tell you, just don't worry if it moves a point or two. Because if it's a lock, it's really looked at as they're going to, they're gonna beat them. Won't really be much of a concern. Cincinnati lost to Miami of Ohio. Another, very surprising. Maybe I see at this stage of the season, I don't know what's a surprise and what isn't. Alabama beating South Florida 17-3. Is that a surprise or maybe not? I mean, their quarterback sucks. He benches Milrose because he sucks. He brings in a new guy. He was like 4 of 15 for 30 yards. With the Alabama's offense, that's unbelievable. So he sucks. So that's another bad quarterback. He's down to another one. There's no way this team's going to beat Ole Miss or Mississippi State or LSU or Auburn. You got A&M coming up. Now we're going to lose 4 or 5 games. But it shows you how key the quarterback is. Ohio State switches quarterbacks. They light up a good Western Kentucky team. So a lot of it is terrible coaching that they don't know their own talent. Like Ohio State, I always used, had Joe Burrow. And they decided to go to T.J. Barrett instead. He transfers. He wants to go to Nebraska. The Nebraska coach doesn't like him. He ends up at LSU, and he's the next Tom Brady. And you're looking at how stupid are these coaches. See, this is the problem. You think the coaches know talent, and they don't. And then how many times do we see we get a mark on a team, and then they switch quarterbacks, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? So that's how I found Quentin Flowers in South Florida. They were scoring about 5 points a game, and I was betting them under. We're in like week 6 now. Bet under, and then I'm quick to see it. And then I started betting South Florida over, and all of a sudden they're hitting 50 points a game. Same thing with Georgia. I have them under almost every week, and then they go against LSU in the SEC game, and it goes over. And then it goes over with Ohio State. So I have the way to go. I took over in the TCU game, which like yesterday, I got Georgia under. And I'm going to play Georgia under every week unless they play, something happened, a lot of injuries or something. Bobby Bo. Yeah, you hit LSU and you hit TCU and you lost Tennessee. Arkansas, I go figure that out. But that's what's happening. BYU is better than we think. Arkansas is good with no defense. That's why we learn. But too bad lost. I thought I had was Arkansas. I think Jefferson is junk. He was horrible. Yeah, I didn't. Again, a lot of it is did they bring in a new offensive coordinator and defensive? That's what happened. What team? Look at the Eagles. They've switched offensive and defensive coordinators. They don't look the same. And their defense is nothing right now. So you don't know if it's Jefferson or a new coordinator. Look at Miami last year. Van Dyke lights it up, and they bring in the idiot from Michigan, Gaddis, who sucks. He then goes. He looks like shit. This year, he's back because of new coordinator. So there's so many different pieces. Jefferson's very good, but if they change coordinators and he sucks, look at the Iowa coordinator. It's terrible. One note on Iowa. Tennessee has not won a game in Florida in 20 years. Yeah, well, even Peyton Manning couldn't do it. LSU did win it. Well, yeah, I was LSU and you won TCU, so I was good. That was good for you. Again, you're taking higher risk games, and that's what's good for it. Notre Dame didn't cover, but my luck was Iowa State under and Georgia under. I can't believe you're asking, what do I do with Georgia? I mean, it's an automatic under every week. South Carolina, I guess, has a little bit of defense, held them 14-3. But Georgia's Georgia. They go and they win 24-14. Even though they're playing like shit, they still win the game. Well, that's why you got to tease it, Eric. You don't have those problems. I thought Bama is a dog next Saturday against Ole Miss. Is a dog. You want to play Bama with? You want to play Bama? I think the only way you can play Bama is under. They have no quarterback, right? Milrose is benched. This other guy comes in, 4-15 for 30 yards. Can't bet him. And with that offense and those receivers, that guy really sucks. Was it Cochran or something? Gee, thought I had it, but I lost all teamers. James Madison was a good look, though. Yeah, James Madison. They're an A team. That's where I make a lot of money, is finding the James Madisons and things like that. Because the line, they were getting points, and they win the game straight out. I love that one. Hard to lock those, but definitely liked it. Well, like I said, I added a pro teaser, which I really like. And then I had Iowa State with Georgia in one lock, and Iowa State. I stayed under Georgia under one lock. Iowa State under with this pro total today. So I had two locks with Iowa State. That's how you bet teasers, right? You put these teams in. When you find the Iowa State and you love them under, then why play them in one teaser? Play them, bet them twice, and that's what I do. And again, I have them with the pro. I had them with Georgia under, and then I have them with the pro total today. I think it was Jefferson, because all he did was run, throwing short yardage, etc. He's trash. A real quarterback would have found a way to tie that ball game up. Okay, I'm not going to question. Yeah, I've seen Jefferson look good. I've seen him make plays. He's not these other guys, but he's a good quarterback. Let's see. So today I got half of a lock with Iowa State under, and then I got my pro lock. Well, how did I get that? Because I looked at Iowa State was playing Ohio is an under team. They don't score and they have a good defense. And Iowa State doesn't score and has a good defense. And the total was like mid 40s. So it wasn't like a 35. So I went under, I think 48 or 49. And again, that's why I'm betting it Monday. I'm betting it Monday, and then it's on the site Monday. And, by Friday, Saturday, it's gone down 2 or 3 points. And I know it's going to go down because Iowa State's an under team, and Ohio, people will see it and start reacting to it. That's why I'm always ahead of the curve. So I'm betting it early, as I do with most of my totals. Not necessarily the games, but the totals I'm betting. I know exactly where they're going. Right, I think USC's got UCLA next week. That's an over. Okay, so the first line that comes out is short because this is the way they do it. They're not good. These Vegas guys. So if it comes out at 61, I'm making the bet right away. I know I want to go over on it. I know it's USC, UCLA. It's going to be an over. Therefore, get it at 61, and then by Saturday it's 66. And, you're losing 5 points on the bet that you don't need to lose, that you can bet it early because 100% of the time the line's going up. And the only thing is if there's a late injury, Caleb will, like Kelsey last week, he hurts himself on Tuesday. Who gets who fucking practices on Tuesday gets hurt for the Thursday game. Okay, that happens. Or like Rising all of a sudden not playing or playing. That shit happens, and that's the risk you take. But normally, if everything's good and you look on the injuries and Caleb Williams is fine, and then you bet it over, and you've saved 4 or 5 points on the over because it's only going to go up because people will start. People are kind of watchers. So if the line starts going up, then they get in on it, like gold and silver, right? When gold starts going up, everybody's going to jump in. We're just waiting. We're waiting for the jump in. That's why I really say a high price on gold and silver. But in the beginning, nobody knows, but so if USC is 61 and then it starts going to 62, 63, then everybody starts jumping on, getting the price to 65, 66. And that's why I bet him on Monday. I love Bama as a dog. I think they asked and beat Ole Miss for sure. Did you see the quarterbacks yesterday, Bobby? What are you talking about? I am a Roy now that Bobby tearing Jefferson a new one worse than the professor does to Mark McGuire's comment sections. I am a Roy. What's a Roy? I am a Roy now, but Bobby tearing Jefferson. Yeah, well, I mean, if he looked that bad, was it BYU's defense? This is normally why I'm looking for weak defenses to bet against. I couldn't understand the Kansas game. Nevada sucks. They give up 50 a game. And I think Kansas put up like 30 points on them. I don't like their quarterback, Daniels. I prefer Bean. He's much better. Daniels can't throw it either. Well, obviously, he's costing you money, and he's not playing the way he has played. These guys are inconsistent. Like I say, it could be the play calling. It could be, is it the quarterback? Is his receivers suck? What game was I watching? And the receivers kept dropping the ball. Like, you can blame the quarterback, but if it hits the guy in the hand and he drops the ball, look at Mahomes on Thursday, right? They dropped 10 of his passes. Do you want to say Mahomes sucks? No, the receivers suck. They got to get rid of Tony or whoever can't catch shouldn't be out there. That's okay, Bobby. I'm used to it. Okay, so 1.5 locks today. So I have Iowa State under locked with a pro team, and then I got a new pro lock that I posted after another analysis. So I do expect mostly unders today, but I do like the Kansas City over, which is your free pick, as well as the Indy Houston under. Both quarterbacks are probable, which I want them in the game. The defenses are kind of weak. Well, again, with week one, but they don't have offense. So I'm not expecting this to be high scoring, but we will see. That would have been a nice win for me, too. So I was annoyed at the time because they lost to a team they barely beats, team named Sam Houston. Yeah. Would you put those two pro locks together? Well, yes. I mean, the one lock, play a three-teamer with the three teams. I mean, unless you've already played Iowa State with the pro team, but you can do that. I had Iowa State in 2 teasers, Georgia under in 2 teasers. Colorado I had in 2 teasers. I was a little bit so they don't all win the 2 teasers, but that's the basic strategy. You're going to win a lot more than you're going to lose. I got James Madison with Kansas City over today, but then I got Kansas City over again. So once I see a game and I like it, like now that I know Kelsey's playing today and and Smith, the defensive tackle, signed. He's playing. He's their best defensive player. I don't like it for the over, but I don't know how long he can play, being that he's just signed and didn't go through training camp, although none of them play in the preseason. But once I saw that, I really love Kansas City even more, being now they got Kelsey, and they're pissed. All the players are like probable, where on most teams they'd be questionable, wouldn't play. On Kansas City, they all want to play. They're going to be fired up, and they're gonna put up a big number because Jacksonville doesn't have a defense. So again, I'm looking at the scope of the game, going, what's the strength and weaknesses? That's how you determine the bet. You've got to have some fundamental to figure out the expected outcome. That's what you're trying to get to. I did, but I didn't add a pro lock. Well, there's a pro lock on there. Should be. I saw 30-minute countdown to the appearance of General Chow. Yeah, okay. Yep, I got him yesterday. I asked the lady, she raised her prices. Now, being an economist, I said, how are you losing customers? Because she raised General Chow from $13.99 to $15.25. And she says, well, my prices are going up. And I said, but you've got to be careful. You raise your price, it affects how many customers walk into the door and how many customers go, I don't care about the price increase, or I do. She's very unique in the fact that go find another place that serves healthy Chinese food that isn't fried. You can't. So she can make General Chow $25 for the dinner, and I'd still pay for it because I don't have another option. But she doesn't understand she's unique. She just thinks she's Chinese food, and there's a lot of Chinese restaurants. She's scared to raise her prices. So she says, well, my customers understand that my costs went up, so I had to raise the price. And I go, well, that's not the point. It's a matter of, there's a point you can't raise your price to. Like I tell the rib guy, you can't go to $45 for your barbecue ribs. Nobody's going to fucking pay them. So he is keeping them 25, 26. He is listening to me. But on the other hand, like she's up to 15. And in my head, I'm going, lady, you could sell these for $19.99 and you would not have a problem selling your General Chow or half your dishes here because you don't fry them. So that's what I would. But yeah, I would go to her too if she's making healthy Chinese, because I sure as hell can't find. See, she doesn't have competition. She's a monopoly, but doesn't understand she's a monopoly. And I keep telling her to buy gold and silver, and she keeps like poo-pooing me. And I'm like, you're from fucking China. If anybody knows about it, it's you. And she said, if you open a savings account in China, they're giving you a pound of gold. I want to go open one. Jesus Christ. All right, so the general. So let's go to the line. All right, so we start off San Diego 2.5, 45.5, down from 3. Eckler is out in the game, but I don't care. They got Kelly, the running back from UCLA, who looks very good. I don't think that's an issue. Bosa's got a hamstring. We'll check injuries in a minute. Bosa's always injured. I've never seen anybody like this guy. Between the two brothers, they play like 5 games a year. Atlanta is 1.5, 40.5. Now, Adam Jones, the good running back for Green Bay, really saves the game for him, pulls his hamstring going in. Oh, maybe he should have played in the preseason. And, I'm looking through these injuries. Every team's got at least 5 to 7 hamstring injuries. They're so fucking stupid. I can't believe it. So if Adam Jones isn't out, we know Love, all he did was throw a little screen and a little pitch, and they're trying to make it Love looks good. No, Jones is the star of the team. So we got to see if he's playing or not. Houston 139.5 against Indy. Richardson against Stroud are both probable. That's your free play. Go under. Now, the expected outcome is neither quarterback can throw the ball. Richardson just wants to run, and Stroud just wants to run. So I don't see a lot of points coming. Maybe some field goals. Maybe they're going to run it. I think Houston's got the running back. Taylor's out for Indy, so I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. So it's an obvious under with these quarterbacks. Now, that's what we expect. What will reality be, we don't know, but I'm hoping, I got 10-9 listed. Detroit, 4.5, 47.5 against Seattle. Looks pretty healthy, Seattle. And Seattle is a road dog, is like 19-3. So it's probably a good Seattle play. They lost to the Rams, so they're going to be pissed off. You'll get a good effort from Seattle. They play the Lions well. They've beaten them the last 2 years badly. Last year, they didn't even punt in the game. Smith against Goff. So Detroit, I don't know. I don't get it. They're not that good. They don't have a defense. We'll see more today about their defense. But I think Seattle and 10.5 is probably the best way to play it. Or if you are afraid of that, then I would say go over 41 is probably the other best way to play that. Probably both are good plays, I would think. Tampa 2.5 and 40.5 really hasn't moved. Some injuries to the Bears, nobody good. And then it's Fields. Good luck with that. Tampa Bay, I don't know. They played mini 17-14. I don't know what that was about. So now they're home against the Bears and Fields against Mayfield. Mayfield's a little shaken up, but I'm sure he'll play. Buffalo 8.5, 47.5. I like Buffalo here as they're off of a loss. Oakland doesn't have a good defense. Played Denver to a 17-16 game, but I don't know what that means week 1. So here's where we get a little fooled in college and a little fooled here is these week 1 and week 2 games. In college, they play the high school team. So we get a skewed, what is their real team? In the pros, no preseason. Week 1 is basically throw out because it doesn't mean anything. You don't know what the team. Now, Buffalo, I think, played the Jets, was a pretty good game. Shows how good my Jets are. But Buffalo here, off of a loss, home opener. Oakland, okay, they played Denver. Sean Payton, so they got the whole system's got – Judy didn't play. I see Denver. Oakland, again, they only got 17 on them. Garoppolo, I think he's terrible. I think he's worse than Jefferson, Bobby. So I like Buffalo here. Only laying 2.5 shouldn't be a problem here. And I gave it to the guy in the pool. This is his free play. This is his play, so it's no line. You pick the winner, but then you can't pick Buffalo anymore. And then you just go each week picking one game, no line, just pick the winner, and you move to the next week. So when I make him $1 million, I expect a lot from him. Kansas City, 3.5 and 51.5. I'm shocked this line didn't move. So the only thing I can think of is they knew Kelsey was playing the whole time because it did not adjust when they announced Kelsey's probable and going to play. I would have expected the 51.5 to go to 54.5 because Kelsey's playing, which means they knew Kelsey was playing the whole time. 51.5. I love the game over. KC, they're good for 40 in this game. Jacksonville hit 20, be a 60, 65-point game if we can get that in the pros. But I look for Mahomes to be on fire. And if this, he's got Kelsey now. So if their receiver drops 10 balls, he'll be working at the grocery store next week. Jacksonville, no defense. KC doesn't have much of a defense. Jacksonville is able to score. So I got 34-27 here, Kansas City. And absolutely. I mean, this is most of these games are under, not this one. You go Mahomes, you can't go under with Mahomes. Now that they've got week 1 underway and they've had a chance to really fry because they lost, look for them to come out on fire. There's something when you come out emotional, like Alabama yesterday after the loss. But I did say Texas would be flat, and they were flat to Wyoming. That is the one thing. There's a couple games. Texas was flat, and Texas A&M lost to Miami, kicked Lou Monroe's ass. It's funny how I had Army pegged, except for the first week, and then they're putting up 40 on UTSA. I have New Mexico State pegged. They beat New Mexico yesterday, except for week one. So I'm like 3 weeks ahead. So I got to keep that in mind. Cincy 45.5 to Baltimore. I don't know. Cincy off of a loss. They played like shit. Look for Burrow to make a much better game. And I don't want to hear he ain't good, Bobby. He went to LSU, so we know he's good. With Chase, Baltimore's got some injuries on the defense, but I don't even know who they are. It's like, before it would be like, is Ray Lewis playing? Now I look at the linebackers. It's like, who are these guys? So I got Cincy winning 24-17. I think it's probably an under, again, with Baltimore's defense. Lamar can't hit the side of a barn. And Burrow, no offense last week. I do expect it to be better. I don't know. I guess it rained in Cleveland. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So you got to think since he's going to bounce back, but I think the only way to play it's under. I don't see how you play. I don't know. I mean, I think since he wins, but it's a tough one against Baltimore. It's not one I'm interested in. The Giants 4.5, 39.5 against Arizona. Jones against, I believe, Toon or Dobbs. Either one sucks. Both of them are worse than Jefferson, Bobby. I got the Giants 17-0. I don't see any, they're going to run Jones. They're going to run Barkley down their throats. Arizona is a terrible home dog. I think the Giants obviously win the game, and I think it's probably low scoring. Most of these are low scoring because you don't have quarterbacks. It's amazing how good the quarterbacks are in college and how bad they are in the pros. It's fucking unbelievable. The 49ers, 745.5 to the Rams. We got Purdy and Stafford, so it's a pretty good matchup. I got the Niners 24-10. Good luck against that defense. McCaffrey, Kittle, great, Debo Samuel. How the fuck do you defend this team? And I like Purdy. Stafford's good. Did a good number on Seattle, but I think the Niners win. The Niners like playing in LA. Jesus, I got to get a new computer. The Niners like playing in LA, and good luck playing that defense. But it looks like the Rams have a pretty good defense also. Let's see. I think it's like Georgia. You just about play the Niners under. I mean, you look for the good defensive teams. So Michigan under, Georgia under, Iowa State under, and it looks like Washington State and Oregon State are going to be unders again. They look better. The JETS, Jets, Dallas. Dallas is 8.5, down from 9.5, and I can't believe that spread, 38.5. I mean, I got the Jets winning 17-10. I got our buddy Prescott, 3 picks. Can you bet that? I would bet 3 picks. Zach Wilson, he beat Buffalo last week, so I don't know what everybody's so worried about. Rodgers played the first series. Wilson, the rest of the game, they're down 13-3, comes back and wins it. Okay, a punt return, but it was 16-16 at the end of the game. So don't tell me the guy can't play. He was good at BYU. He's had some tutorage by Rodgers. I think he's much better right now. And I'm betting their defense. Again, when we look at the defenses, both are pretty strong. Jets are better. I think the Jets, it's the Niners, the Jets, maybe this Dallas defense, if they figure out how to use Micah Parsons, maybe the Rams defense, let's see as it goes on. But how do you lay 8.5? You get 14.5 and the Jets. Okay, this isn't betting on Temple. This is the Jets with the number 1 or 2 defense. This will be low scoring, and again, and you get 14.5 and the Jets. I wouldn't touch Dallas with a 10-foot pole in this game. Denver 3.5, 38.5. Another Thurston Howell III against Russell Wilson. I'm sure he'll have a better game. Judy's back. Sean Payton. It's going to take him 5 or 6 weeks to really get everything going. Again, another should be a low score. I got 2013 Denver, roughly right in that area. New England 2.5 for Denver, Miami 2.5 for whoever it is. Miami 2.5 keeps changing. 46.5. The sharps are betting it from 2.5 to 3 and back to 2.5. Tug against Jones, both Alabama slappies. I think Miami wins it close, maybe 24, 27 to 20. New England threw the ball 50 times against Philly. Miami throws it 50 times against everybody. Probably an over here, 47 over 41. I would not take Miami. I don't know if I can trust either quarterback. So I think it's an over. Miami does not have a defense. They're the perfect over team. New Orleans 39.5 against Carolina. Carr versus Young. Should be low scoring. New Orleans plays low scoring games. I got 17-16 New Orleans. And last but not least, Cleveland 2.5, 38.5 to Pittsburgh. And I see this as it's going to be Chubb, and then Pittsburgh will probably have to run because Pickett sucks. They don't have a quarterback. And I got 21-17 Cleveland, which is right about the number. So I think this should be a low scoring game because that's what Pitt does. Pitt is going to play the tough defense. Cleveland's going to have to rely on Chubb. Deshaun Watson looked like shit. He looked worse than Jefferson, too, last week, Bobby. So that's what I'm saying. So trends. Green Bay is a dog. Well, let's look at the injuries. So just not all of them, just some key ones. So I'm just going to look at the big players. I'm not going to read every fucking name. Arizona, James Conner's running back, probable with the calf. What the fuck? I got a gateway timeout on covers.com. Let's try this again. I'm getting Alex, what is this? Gateway timeout. How the fuck? I was just looking at it. So I'm going back into the site. This is unbelievable. During class, I got to get an error out on that. Okay. So we'll have to go back into scores and odds and look at the injuries. Okay. So San Diego and Tennessee. Joey Bosa, questionable with the hamstring. Eckler's out. That's it. Tennessee. I didn't really see any. DeAndre Hopkins is questionable with an ankle. Amani Hooker, he's a defensive back. He's out. Hassan Haskins from Michigan, the running back. Dealing with off-the-field legal issues. He went to Michigan. They couldn't get him an attorney. He's on the commissioner exam. I never heard of this before. Hoskins is dealing with off-the-field legal issues. It's been placed on the commission. You're telling me the team can't get him out of that? What the fuck is going on there? So otherwise, no injuries. All right, let's go to the key one. If this is updated, that's why I like covers. So Green Bay, Aaron Jones is questionable with the hamstring, but that's on 9/10. I don't know. Bakhtiari, he's always injured with the knee. And Atlanta, some old linemen. Jeff Okuda from Ohio State, who never played for the Lions, isn't playing for Atlanta. See, these Ohio State guys are smart. The Bosa's, this guy, they all get injured and they all get paid and they never play. It's just, they teach them well at Ohio State. Well, there's not much. Problem is on covers, I think it's more up to date. Like Indy here, it still says, let's see. Taylor's out with an ankle, but I think he's out with the salary. Okay. I couldn't name a good player on Houston if I saw one. Noah Brown, I don't know, out. There's so many players out. CJ Stroud, questionable at the shoulder, but I know he's probable on covers, so he's playing. That's my biggest fear is if they get hurt and then they bring in the backups who are much better, then the game gets over because the defenses aren't very good. Seahawks, Lions. Taylor Decker, tackle, is out. I'm waiting for Hendon Hooker to get in there. Seattle, we know Jamal Adams is out for the year with the knee. Devin Bush, questionable. The linebacker from Michigan. Kenny McIntosh, the running back from Georgia, is out with the knee, but he will miss at least 4 games, so I don't think it's too bad. I like to see him. The Bears, so the question is, they're playing Tampa. The Bears, offensive lineman out, offensive lineman out, offensive line. So 3 offensive linemen are out, but we don't know if they're starters or not. Tampa Bay, Russell Gage, receivers out. That's the only name I recognize. So it's a bunch of nobodies who get on the injured list, and I don't even know if they're injured. Oakland and Buffalo. Von Miller's out with the knee, we know, so it's nothing like we're surprised about, nothing else. Oakland. Chandler Jones, defensive ends out. Jacoby Myers, receivers out. Austin Walter, I don't know, running backs out. That's it. KC, Jacksonville, KC. See, here it still says 9-5, Kelsey questionable, but he's probable. So, again, that's why I like the other site. I know he's playing. Most of these guys are. Chocolate Eclair is playing. They're all playing. They're all pissed. They don't want to lose. So it's kind of hard. Jacksonville, Smoot, the linebackers, out with an Achilles. He's a good one. Otherwise, I don't have any clue who these players are. Baltimore, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, as long as I don't see Burrow on here, I'm happy. Chris Evans, running back, questionable. That's it. They all make a big deal about the offensive lineman being hurt. Well, first of all, you got 5 of them, and you got a couple of reserves. So once one guy's hurt, you bring in another guy who you cut in training camp. You're looking at 15 of them. So, and they're all the same. There's very few difference. There's a couple that absolutely suck. So you should be able to see them and get them off your team. But you should be able to pick up other ones. J.K. Dobbins out with an Achilles. There's a lot of Achilles. It's amazing. That's really it. Nobody else I have any idea about. The Giants in Arizona, of course, we know Kyler Murray's out. Arizona, Buda Bay questionable with a hamstring, another hamstring. Marlon Mack out with an Achilles. What the fuck's with the Achilles? And we know Kyler Murray's out, and I can't name. Matt Hembrow, the safety's out. Does that ring a bell to anybody? The Giants, Cole Beasley's out. That's good for the under. Jared Davis, linebacker, out. Well, he was out in July. That's about it. The Niners and the Rams. We know Cooper Kupp's out, which is good for our under. Frisco's very healthy. Indy's got Kupp out. Oh, I thought it was Howie Long. It's Hunter Long. Stenson Benson has been placed on the non-football injury list. What the fuck is that? Why would you put him on? What if Stafford gets hurt? You're going to lose the game because you don't have Stenson Benson backing it up? Oh, my God. These coaches are so fucking stupid. The Jets and the Cowboys. Well, we know Rodgers is out, unfortunately. Dallas, Zach Martin, questionable. Brandon Cooks, questionable. Ronald Jones, out with the suspension. A lot of guys getting suspended. This is football. You're not getting Rhodes Scholars here. You're getting, well, except for Pat Hayden, you're getting guys that like to be hit. They're not normal. Aaron Rodgers out with an Achilles, of course. And I could name Bruce Hall, questionable with the knee, but again, this is a few days ago. So I do miss my covers.com. Washington and Denver. I believe Judy is playing, the wide receiver. Cornerback out, linebacker out, safety out. And that's it. So Judy's not even on this list. Washington. Nothing. I'm glad that Chase Young's playing for Washington because we want the game under. And we want the defensive players to play and the offensive ones to not play. All right, Miami. Jalen Ramsey, well, he's out. Otherwise, I have no idea. New England. Riley Reef, the offensive tackle, used to be on the Lions. They let him go, and he's got no problem playing. Devontae Parker, questionable, wide receiver. This is New England. Trey Flowers, linebackers out. That's good for the over. Trey Nixon, wide receivers out. Matt Corral out for personal. Has been placed on the exempt team left list. What the fuck is that? Otherwise, nobody else. I mean, it's amazing how I have no idea who 90% of these players are. I mean, because I watch college, so I know the players from college. Carolina. Chalk, the wide receiver, questionable with the hamstring. There we go again. And that's about it. Nobody worth mentioning. New Orleans. Kamara's on a 4-week suspension. Good for the under. Tyquan Smith out with the groin. Good for the under. Jack Hayner has been suspended for violating the league's performance and hazardous substance policy. Are you kidding me? Jake Hayner doing that? My boy from Fresno State? That's unheard of. And Pitt and Cleveland on Monday Night Football with Howard Cosell. Cleveland, Amari Cooper, questionable with the groin. Conklin, offensive tackle from Michigan State, out. Bo Pete King. Come on. There's a guy called Bo Pete Keys. Keys is dealing with a finger injury. He's been placed on Bo Pete Keys. B-O-P. Is this like a What's that? What's that comedian group? I can't think of it. My guys, Key and Peele. This is what they would do the skit on. Bo Pete Keys, hysterical defensive back. Which team? This is on Cleveland. No wonder they can never win. Getting guys named Bo Pete. Cameron Hayward out for Pittsburgh, defensive tackle, a very good one. Anthony McFarland, running back, out, and that's it. All right, so we've gone through the line. Now we're looking at expected outcomes. Look at teaser trends. Green Bay is a very strong dog in this game. If Adam Jones plays, let's see if I can get covers.com back, because that's a more accurate God, I can't believe this is a fucking gateway timeout. Oh, we need it. Like, I don't know. What the fuck? All the other gateways are working. Any messages? No. So again, what you're doing here, you're trying to predict the future. You're trying to get an expected outcome. And we know it ain't easy. So we look at different measures. I like the defenses and offenses, the quarterbacks, running backs in certain situations. Then we look at teaser trends, which are not transparent because too many guys are switching. You know, there's too many new like Richardson and CJ Stroud. They're brand new. They're rookies. They have no business playing. So you have no trend on them. So therefore, I have no idea what to make of their games except for go under, because they both. Even Joe Montana's first year isn't going to light it up. So with that said, look at teaser trends. So the teaser trends: Green Bay, strong road dog. Basically, Atlanta sucks at home. Over the past 3-4 years, they're terrible at home. You bet against them, you win 90% of the time. Now, is Aaron Jones playing for Green Bay? If he does play, then it's a much better play. Then you get 7.5. I'm not a big Riddler fan, and I'm not a big Love fan, so the quarterbacks kind of suck. So it's a dog play. If Aaron Jones plays, I'd play Green Bay. Otherwise, it's probably, I don't know what it is. I still don't know what Love is. This is like college. Love played the Bears. Bobby could quarterback us, and we'd win. We'd put up 40 points on the Bears because they suck defensively. So you really don't know what Love is. And all he did was throw a swing pass and a pass over the middle to Aaron Jones. He ran 70 yards and 30 yards for touchdowns. So you have no clue, what Love is. He didn't show anything. And it's like a Ohio State beating, Youngstown State. What did you learn from it? Nothing. So you're very much, we didn't learn anything from Green Bay. I don't know if we'll learn much. He's on the road in Atlanta, so maybe we'll learn something there. We need to see him against Baltimore. We need to see him against Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Then we can see what he's made out of. They got the AFC West, so they're going to play Kansas City, San Diego, Denver, and Oakland. None of them really have good defenses. KC a little, Denver, if they're not all injured, would have a good defense. So that's where we're at. It's 12 o'clock. We got 1 hour. So I do like if Adam Jones plays Green Bay. Now, I don't know. Again, he pulled a hamstring. Geez, I'm shocked. Would you put those two pro locks together? It's up to you. I have used, well, you don't see all my picks because you just bought the lock. So, for example, I have Kansas City over with James, what was it, James Madison? Was it James Madison? Yeah. So that was a lock. That was a college pro lock. James Madison plus 8.5 wins. I got KC over. Boom. We've got a college pro lock, Iowa State, with a pro under team. And then we have another pro lock. So you have 3 different teams. You can play a 3-team teaser, or you can play, you got the free pick Kansas City. You can play with the Iowa State, the other half, the Iowa State lock. Whatever you're comfortable with. It's kind of your feel. Now you don't see what I did. Like I said, I've got Kansas City in 2 teasers. I've got the lock Iowa State in 2 teasers. One with Georgia under, that one, and one with this pro. And then you could play the pro part with Kansas City over or the lock. It's as much as you want. But yes, I played them in 2 teasers. Exactly. And if you want, play them in a 3 or 4-team teaser. You got the lock, you got the Iowa State part, you got Kansas City. So you can play a 4-team teaser there. How do I find the teaser trends? Or is that's my spreadsheets? So at the end of the day, I'll say like Philadelphia, Minnesota, Philly is -7. So if I played Philly -1, it won as a home favorite. And if you bet against them, it won. And then if I played Minnie as a road dog, getting 13, you won. And if you went against Minnie, you won. It was a teaser where both teams won. And therefore, so I recorded on an Excel spreadsheet. So if you have Excel, I can send you the file. Although I'll have to piece it. It's probably too big because I keep every year. I go back to like 1990 and I just keep adding the next year and the next year. And then off to the side, I go, well, give me these 2 years together and give me these 3 years together so I can really see a good trend. Problem is it's all these changes. Like you can't play Houston and Carolina and Indy. They got new quarterbacks. You can't trend them with past. You can only sell like Kansas City with Reed and Mahomes. I can use KC trends. Those trends, like I said, I can use certain teams, but most of them, either the coach is new or the player, and so you got to be careful with them. You can use them kind of, but it's better to use the Kansas City trends because they've been there 5 years together, and so now you know what they're going to do. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those college lines coming out later today. Yeah, I gotta pencil in the college games, and like I said, when I saw the Iowa State game 2 weeks ago, I saw that ahead. As soon as the over/under came out, I bet it under. I think it dropped 4 or 5 points, or 3 or 4 points, but I eyeballed that game, going, "That's an under," and it was. And then once I studied yesterday and I saw Iowa State, well, I know they're an under, but you want to see who they're playing. I'm not going to go under against USC, but Ohio is an under team. Oh, so now you got under, and it's Iowa State under. So that's why I chose that as the lock. And then Georgia, South Carolina, that was 60 points. Georgia does not play 60-point games unless they had the injuries like against TCU and Ohio State. Otherwise, you're not scoring on them. Just ask Tennessee about that last year. So you mix match. I just put them all together. Maybe that's why I'm losing. Well, again, it's hard the way you bet teasers, you want to make a big bet. So let's say you got a $5,000 bankroll. So you're betting 50 roughly a teaser. But the lock, you want to bet like 150, 200 on. But you want to play a 2-team teaser. There's more teams, it's harder to win. But then you want to, so let's say I got 200 on the lock, right? Iowa State, Georgia under, boom. Let's say I got 200 on them. But then I go, well, I got all these other strong games. So I'm going to play Iowa State under, and Georgia under, and LSU, and whatever. Pick, James Madison. And then, you know what? I like Kansas City over, and I like the Houston Indy game under. I'll play a 16 teaser, but I'm only going to play them for like $20 because it's hard to pick 6 games. So that you got to vary your betting. So the two-teamer that you love, it's the big bet. The other games that you kind of like Arkansas, I played with somebody, and but I don't love it, and I don't know how strong BYU is, so I'm going to play that for $50. So you got a $200 one on that, the one you love, and then you got a $50 one on the other one, and then if you play a 3 or 4 or 5 team teaser, it should only be 20. Realizing it's hard to hit, so I don't want to play the lock for 200 and this 5-6 team teaser for 200 because it's extremely difficult just to pick them. More difficult to pick 5 or 6. Last week, I hit all 5 locks and all 4 free picks. So I went 9-0, but so you take advantage of that, but you're not going to do it every week. There's too many variances to the outcome, the expected outcome. So you base your variables over unders, quarterbacks, coaches, and you come out with Iowa State under and Georgia under and Michigan under. And those are your solid ones, and those you bet more. And then it's kind of like, well, okay, I'll bet Tennessee over Florida, but I wouldn't put a lot on it. Or, okay, LSU over Mississippi State. Did you have a lot on that one? I probably would not think so. A lot more risk. Now, are you betting Brian Kelly? Okay. I wouldn't bet the quarterback, but I would bet Brian Kelly. And so he came through. So there's a lot of different variables to go into the pie. And so that's why it gets difficult. And sometimes like Michigan under, Georgia, Iowa State under, Minnesota under was according to Hoyle. Yes, it's exactly what we thought. That's exactly what happened, and we won. And that's what you're going. So today we're looking at the pros, and I go, well, Kansas City, Jacksonville over for sure. Mahomes, Jacksonville doesn't have a good defense. Lawrence is playing okay. KC doesn't have a great defense, although they held the Lions to 14. So then you wonder about the Lions offense, right? That's how I read that. So you're really trying to understand, is this defense really good or is it not? Is the offense really that good or is it really that bad? And that's what you're weighing. And you've got to be able to understand when you're watching that that's exactly what you're seeing. And that's the point of it. So that's what you're looking at. So I come across and I see Richardson against Stroud, neither quarterback. They both suck. They're in their second game. I'm not expecting them to light it up. The only way this goes over is if you have, 8 punt returns for touchdowns and pick sixes and strip certs. If it's dry punt, I got a 10-9 game if it goes according to Hoyle. I know I'll get my turnovers. It's where do I get them? And I know I'm going to hopefully not get punt returns and pick sixes. That's not what we want in an under. We want it punt, like the Iowa State-Ohio game yesterday. Beautiful game. So those are my variables. The defense. Now, they don't have great defenses. 2 good defensive teams are like the Jets and Dallas. Beautiful defenses. The Jets are the Niners defense. Dallas, very good. Micah Parsons. I don't expect a lot of points. I don't know how you're going to get a lot of points in the game. You got the fucking Jets defense, which is the Niner defense, and Dallas. So you've got 2 strong defenses who are going to control the game. You got Dak Prescott, which you're going to get 3 interceptions from. So you're using that as the variable, right? You're using that as 2 very strong defenses. Where the fuck are you going to get points in? So then you look at, all right, Aaron Rodgers is out. I wouldn't have cared if Aaron Rodgers played. I would have, if they gave me 9.5 with Aaron Rodgers, I'd be all over that. But I don't mind Zach Wilson. He's not a bad quarterback. He's learning under Rodgers. I got Jets winning 17-10. So you make up your own score to try to figure out what you think's going to happen. And it's going to be very low scoring. So therefore, I'm going to bet 39 under 45 because where are you going to get the points from? You are not lighting up the Jet defense. It's the San Francisco defensive coordinator is their coach. They're playing the Niner defense. You've got to be able to see that. This isn't the Jets. This is the Packer offense with the Niner defense. If Rodgers was there, this team would probably be in the AFC Championship game. So how bad is Zach Wilson? Well, he beat Buffalo. Rodgers went out. It was 0-0 in the first quarter. He played one series. Zach Wilson took over, was shaky at first. Then he gets the win, so he's got confidence. Going at Dallas, they'll keep an eye on Micah Parsons. But that's what you look at. So here we got two strong defenses I'm not going to go over. And I don't have Mahomes. In KC Jacksonville, I got Mahomes against a weak-ass defense in Jacksonville. And Lawrence can score a little. KC's okay, but they're an offensive team, not a defense. So you got to know the team. Are they offense or defense? How strong are their offense? They got Mahomes, okay. Then if Mahomes is injured, that's a different story. But with Mahomes, they're always going to be probably an over, depending if they're playing Baltimore, probably not because of the tough defense. So you've got to identify the team. What are they? Offense, defense. How good's their quarterback? Do they have running? I like a running team for an under because that eats the clock up. So that's sort of what you're trying to figure out here. So do I mix match? I look at the games individually to figure out if I like it. And then I try to rank the teams. So I was showing you in college, there's a whole board. There's 50 games. So you look at, okay, I like it, I don't like it, I like it, I don't. Then you tweak it down to the best games, right? Iowa State under, Georgia under, Michigan under. I throw out a sum, then I'll lightly play Arkansas. LSU I don't like. I'm not going to play it. Texas, be careful. They beat Alabama. They're going to be flat. Don't play it. A&M off a loss. I didn't play it, but I liked it. So it becomes a matter of ranking the team. And then if you look at the whole board, which is why the lock is Iowa State with the pro, is those were the best two games I saw, but then I saw the Georgia under, and I said, well, okay, I'll play Iowa State under, Georgia under. So you're looking, and then it's all a feel. That's why it's an art. It's not a science. You can't just look at the statistics and do it. It's like gold. Gold's an art, you can't trend it and think that that's what's going to happen. It's a art. So this is an art. So I'm telling you the Jets in Dallas. I bet you I'm the only guy looking at this game under. I bet you I'm the only guy going, oh, they got a great defense. Dallas has a great defense. This will be a low-scoring game. That's the art of it, is figuring out the riddle. And the more games you figure, then to answer your question, that's what you're looking at. So you've got to so that's what I'm very good at, is that's where the lock comes from. Yeah, I'm locking Iowa State under. They're playing a weak team, Ohio, who has a good defense and no offense. There's not going to be points in the game. It was 43-44, under 50 in an Iowa State game against Ohio. Beautiful. And that's basically, so once you figure it out, then it's how strong is it, and then you put it with other strong games. That's why you bet more on those games. And then you look at, maybe I'll take, maybe I'll bet Colorado because of prime, and Colorado State sucks, but it's a rivalry. Be careful. But I'll take Colorado there, or I'll take Notre Dame, but not as strong as the other games. That's so you've got different strengths. How much you love the one game, you like the other. So you say, well, I'm going to bet it. I think they'll win. That's the problem, is that then sometimes you hit those games and sometimes you don't. But you make your money on the real strong locks. We're going to make our money on KC over today, hopefully. I mean, if it goes according to plan, it goes over. That's where our money's on. Now, I might have a little bit of money on Green Bay or San Francisco under, or Seattle over the Lions. I'll have a little bit of money, but I'm not as confident with that as I am with these other ones. So why play the other ones? Well, you still like them. You think they'll win, so you play them, but you play them much smaller. And that's what I try to show is the lock is all these units, but the regular little play is a lot less units. So that's how I do it. But you mix and match all day. If you find, mostly I can find college and pro with pro. But when I really see a strong college and I really see a strong pro, then I want to play my strongest games together. Oh, yeah. I put 50 on that 7-teamer. I showed you and 180 on the 3-teamer. Yeah. So I'm, yeah. Well, that's exactly what you need to do. G is, again, yeah. I mean, your odds on winning a 7-teamer are very weak, and that's where I kind of, what was it? Alex came on. He's doing this backwards 11, adding 11 to the spread. So he took somebody. I think he took Notre Dame in 34 or something. Or no, it was Colorado. I think plus 34. I think is what he took, and he was getting 3-1 odds. And I'm thinking about it, going, is that good odds? Just because you're getting, see, this is what I have a problem with. These guys get like I listen to BetMGM in the car because I don't want to listen to. They're a bunch of idiots. Well, I'm going to take Pittsburgh to win the division because I'm getting 10-1. So they're looking at the odds, and my question is that good odds? Why are you playing it? Is that a good bet? I don't know. I don't know that the odds are fair. I do know that if I'm betting a teaser and it's 11-10, I'm betting it. If it's a 3-team teaser and I'm getting 11-10, I know those are good odds, and I'm going to win those. But I don't know. Did you bet on Aaron Rodgers to win the MVP? Well, you lost. That's why you never play those. Here comes the injuries, and it changes the whole thing. So I hate those long-term, who's going to win the MVP and the Super Bowl, and who the fuck knows? It all depends on injuries. Mahomes gets hurt, it ain't going to be KC. Rodgers gets hurt, it might be KC now. I think I'm going to play KC and Indy today with Case and KC with Washington. Okay. I mean, I got KC in 2 teasers. Colorado won barely. Who you got? Buffalo or the Raiders? I got the Raiders. Alex, greetings from Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm at a casino about to hit the sports book. I don't know. Like I said, I don't like these reverse teasers you're doing that you added 11 points. So now you got to win by more and you're only getting 3-1. Alex, brother, wow, you be hitting big today, I hope. So the free pick is Kansas City over with Indianapolis under. That's your free pick. The lock. I have one lock Iowa State with the pro, and then the another pro lock. Most of my bets today are overs and unders. Yeah, Buffalo I took because they're off of a loss, and they're 8.5, so they're under 3. And they should clean up on Oakland. Oakland doesn't have a defense. So Denver didn't have Judy last week. They got him, so we'll see. Yeah, Prime didn't do good, and guess what? He's not going to do good at Oregon next week, and he ain't going to do good against USC the week after. So we're starting to figure out Prime. Alex, that was just a one-time thing. Oh. Unless you won it, then it wouldn't be. Yeah, today's board's a lot of overs and unders. There's only 2 teams I actually like. Well, maybe I like the Jets in 14.5, but I like the under more. And I like Buffalo and I like Seattle in 10.5. Those are the only teams I can trust. I can't trust Cincy yet. I don't trust KC as a 3-point favorite on the road. I certainly can't trust Miami or New Orleans, although I think New Orleans should win. And I mean, you got to love the Jets under. I mean, that defense. I mean, Josh Allen lit them up for 16. That's probably going to be the worst, the biggest score they're going to give up. They are fucking loaded. They got a great coach, a great scheme. Can we bet, Alex? Can we bet Prescott throws 3 interceptions? Is that available in the sports book? I want to bet that one. Well, I want to bet that one every week, though. Don't you love that feeling walking into the sports book with the casino? I love the feeling walking into the poker room or the sports book. So, teaser trends, bet against San Diego. They always play close games. They're the favorite. As far as I know, Tannehill and Henry are playing. San Diego, how long is Bosa going to be in the game for? Eckler's out. Although I do like Kelly from UCLA, so I don't think that's going to hurt him. Seattle is a strong road dog, as we know. Them in San Diego, anytime you get a chance to play them as road dogs, play them. Into Houston, God only knows. Cincinnati, pretty good lately. I would imagine they're pissed off after last week's futile performance. KC off of a loss. You're going to get a good game. Everybody's playing. The Giants are really not the Giants. It's bet against Arizona as a home dog, so you would take the Giants here. And Pittsburgh is a very strong home dog, as we talked about last week. But when you're fucking with the Niners, you can't. That's where you get off of it, right? So you got to see the competition. When you got Pitt Niners, you got anybody playing the Niners or the Jets, you got to rethink it, especially the Niners. If Rodgers was playing, I would never bet against the Jets unless I had the Niners. And I very rarely am going to bet against the Niners. I had them in the playoff game against Dallas. It was an easy win. So when you got an A team like that with a great defense, McCaffrey and the Kittle, it's very – I don't want to fucking bet against them. Used to be how it was with Alabama, but not anymore. So that's where you go. Again, we're looking at expected outcomes. So the free picks, Indy Houston under, KC Jacksonville over. 3 locks going today. One of them was with Iowa State. That's about it. A lot of unders. Again, look at the quarterbacks. Thurston Howell the third against Russell Wilson. I mean, what's Howell going to do? Carr against Young, 2 shit quarterbacks. Richardson against Stroud. Where are they going to get points from? So these games superficially look, let's go under, let's go under, let's go under. But we've got to really, Mahomes, I'm expecting 35 points from. So that's, you got a Mahomes, you got Herbert, you got Aaron Rodgers, you're expecting Josh Allen, you're expecting points. Most of these clowns are so bad, you're not expecting points, especially the running ones are pathetic. They just, because they can't throw, but they can't run once they get inside the 20 in the red zone. You can't throw it there. You got to run it in, but the defense is watching you. So they're, Fields or Hurts or Lamar inside the 20 is useless because the defense is watching them. And as soon as they start running, the defense is there. So, in Alex, in your game that you asked me about yesterday, the Wisconsin game, and you said they're both run and shoot, so I tried to warn you that doesn't work in the red zone, and it was a low-scoring game. Oregon did go over with Hawaii, but they don't really do run and shoot there. I like that. I was pretty much right on that game. 55-10 was a 65. I needed 62. And I said Oregon should get you all 60, which they basically did. They got you 55 of it. I like when I pick it right. I don't like the Colorado game or the Notre Dame game. I saw that score. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And they still won 41-17. That's where you got to be careful. The line was a little too high, but I thought they'd put up a 50 on them easy. I was surprised Central switched quarterbacks, went to more of a running style quarterback. The Central will be good in the MAC, a good dog. But here they surprisingly got 17. Hartman looked great. He's laying in these long passes and hitting them in stride for 3 long touchdown passes. We got Notre Dame, Ohio State coming up. Bet that over as soon as it comes out. Hopefully it'll be in the 60s. We've got Notre Dame, USC coming out. Bet that'll probably be 69. Bet that as soon as it comes out. Good God, that game's going to be 100 points. No problem. Texas, Oklahoma, looks like both teams have defense now. Being interesting. I like Oklahoma as the dog in a revenge game there. Kansas State lost to Missouri. That was like shaking my head on that one. It was a real strange. How the hell did Missouri score? So again, I laid away from it. I pondered it. It's funny how it was 3.5, and I take Kansas State. I mean, they're the better team, and yet Missouri at home finds a way to win on a 65-yard field goal or whatever, but they find a way to win. And that's really what you're looking at is that. So we're still not, is Missouri that good of a team? Is Kansas State not as good? Did they, so Kansas State's used to playing the passing teams, Oklahoma, Texas, TCU, and that's where they excel at. And then against a Missouri team, which I don't know what they are, they struggled. Now I'm going to update the stats and get the new quarterback looks so I can better understand the team. So today I'll pull in the stats when the games are going on. I'll look at next week's college. Once the games start, the pros, I'm pretty much analyze them and know what I got. Again, 3 locks going today. One was with the Iowa State pro, and then 2 pros, and then several other strong plays in the pros. Like I said, the Jets under. I mean, Dallas is 8.5. I would have 0 chance of betting Dallas minus 2.5. See, I'm not falling for the bullshit. I'm looking at that game going, the Jets have the better defense with the interceptions. How the fuck are they going to win the game? And I believe the Jets win the game because of, they beat Buffalo, and I know Rodgers is out. Wilson's fine. He was a high draft pick from BYU. So I'm not sitting there. I have not once thought about taking Dallas minus 2.5 or 3.5. Never. Buffalo, yes, they're off a loss. Dallas, you can't look at the 40-0 win. It was a blocked field goal, and then it was a pick six, and it was a lot of Giants mistakes. And not really Dallas dominating. And I'm not a big Dallas fan. That's why I'm not a fan. I'm just looking at it independently. Dallas, what do we got? Good defense, terrible quarterback, decent running back, although their better runner is the guy Vaughn from Kansas State, but they won't play him. Their better quarterback's Will Greer, but where's he? And that's the problem. They're not playing their best players. So I'm not a Dallas fan. Here's this team called Dallas, and here's this team called the Jets, and you break it down, you go strong defense, not going to be a lot of points. And that's how I look at it. So 8.5 is a joke, right? Spread should be 3. That's what it still should be if Rodgers is playing or not. So I think that's just ridiculous. I think the books think that everybody will bet Dallas now. So I'm going to make the spread 6.5 points. Are you kidding me? So I don't think Dallas even wins the game, but how do you lay 8.5 against this defense? And so I don't see it. Anyway, so you're looking for different angles, different trends to go with. So any other questions on today's game? So once again, free pick is Houston Indy under, Jacksonville KC over. Three team, one lock with Iowa State and another lock in the pros. And so there's 3 teams in locks, which means I really love the game. That's why I lock it. Very high confidence versus like maybe, Seattle as a dog, I have less confidence in because I don't know what's going on. I don't think the Lions are that good, but we'll see. I think they'll be flat after beating KC, which was a fluke because of a holding penalty and all these drop passes. But see, how I look at the drop passes is those guys were wide open. They just dropped the ball. They were wide open, which means where's the defense? The defense wasn't. They just got lucky. They were dropping the passes. So against Seattle, with those receivers, they're not going to drop the passes. Metcalf and Lockett are not going to drop the passes of these wide open receivers. So we will see. Will they put pressure on him? Yeah, but Jones is mobile. He'll run around, or Smith, Geno Smith. Keep wanting to call him Jones. So anyway, that's it. We'll look at the pro. We'll look at college tomorrow, all the games, and what's the up and coming week. So I had a thing. I was watching this movie Burnt with what's his name? God, what's his name? A real popular guy, Ryan. I don't know, the guy from Hangover. Isn't it amazing how I can see the guy's face? I was just watching the movie. So I want to talk about switched economics a little bit, unless you have football questions. So do you really like Indy Houston? Yeah, I like it under. It's a free pick. I don't get your question. I've explained it. You got 2 bad quarterbacks. Should be a low-scoring game. The locks are just I like better. And it's just, I'm giving a free pick, so it's a good game. You've got the locks. You can see, well, you can't see my picks. I do have the game bet twice, Houston under. Anyway. Let's see if I got my Bradley Cooper's his name. Amazing how I could forget that. Oh, covers.com might be temporarily down or moved. Well, it ain't moved. Anyway, so it's a gourmet restaurant. He's looking for his 3rd Michelin star. That's the point of it. So from an economic standpoint, he's in the beginning of the movie, he's talking to this chef, and he tells her, well, Burger King does the same thing, but we charge 500 times more. So I'm figuring they charge $500 for their meals. Who the fuck affords $500 for gourmet meals? And it certainly doesn't cost them that much. So their business model is, I'm going to buy this meat and I'm going to put a lot of sugar on it and I'm going to make it taste sweet. And I'm going to charge $500, which is a joke, if you can even eat the sugar. And he knows he's bullshitting everybody because it should not be that expensive. And so the point is, from an Austrian economics view, what you're dealing with is a different market. So there's the Burger King market, which are people that can't really afford a lot and are getting $5 hamburgers. And then there's people who go to the barbecue place and the Chinese place, $15, $20 for our meals. And then there's the market that sells Mercedes and sells this gourmet food, which seems like $400 or $500 for a meal. So you have to understand there's different markets, different people making different amounts, wanting to pay different levels for the perceived service or product. G, I'm going to email you to show you really quick. Okay, G. So it's not just one broad stroke, so keep that in mind. Yeah, that's fine. Well, there's the other lock you didn't put in. So the other lock is, so I might play the other lock unless you've already played a three-teamer with all three locks. I could see doing that. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, the games are fine. This second, Darian. So right now in Russia, it's like 7:40 at night. Well, go on the site. There's a lock. I told you I posted. It's a pro lock. Don't you see the fourth lock? It's on the bottom. There's four locks. Iowa State, Georgia under, Iowa State with the pro, the Notre Dame, Kansas, and then the fourth lock. So you should see it. Yeah. So that would be those three I would put in the teaser in the three-teamer, and then you can certainly add the other games. And then, so what I would do is then play those three, maybe with the Jets under, maybe with the Niners under, maybe with Seattle, maybe with Buffalo. If you want to make a 7-18 teaser on it, you can then do that and just play that small. But your big money should be on these locks that I really like a lot. Well, don't play four, play three. You got the three. Play the three locks together, and then you've got the Houston. So play a three-teamer with the one you showed me. That's fine. I mean, you see the picks, so just play them, and off you go. So that's what I would do. That's what I play mostly two-teamers, so that's, you see my picks. That's my bets. And then I have a guy that gives me 20%, so I bet with him, two-teamers. Some guys I'll play 5 or 16-teamer. Alex, sometimes I play a 5 or 6-team or 7-team teaser with. We don't bet that much on it, but I still get the 20%. But like on a day like today, I'd play one with Alex if you wanted like a 7-8 team teaser. I have 7 or 8 games that I could feel comfortable playing. Well, you got to be comfortable, G. Bet what you can afford to lose. Bet comfortably what you think's going to happen. I'm telling you what I think's going to happen, and then we'll go from there. Anyway, so on burnt. So again, what you have is different markets, and that's what you've got to understand. There's many different markets. So inflation's not going to hurt the people eating at the gourmet restaurant or the Mercedes people. Shouldn't hurt them. But it'll hurt the Burger King people because they have less money, so they only can afford so much. When you make a lot of money, then if prices go up a little, it doesn't really affect you. It just costs you a little bit more and you don't care. And that's what you do, and you go over that. So just understanding Adam Smith, Say's Law. Say's Law is if the gourmet people, if the gourmet people want it, you make it for them. There's different golf clubs. There's cheaper ones, more expensive ones. So there's many different markets. So when it comes to gold, I was watching our video here with some bald guy. I was watching this. I don't particularly care for the guy. He's a salesman. Bank deposits down $1 trillion in 12 months. So people have pulled out $1 trillion out of the banks. They should have put it into gold, but they're not smart enough to understand it. So what do? They call their broker or their financial manager or the guy from Assault on Wall Street, and instead of putting them in gold, he doesn't make commissions on it. And if he doesn't make commissions on the gold, then what's he going to do? He's going to sit there and he's going to say, well, I didn't make, don't go into gold. And he's got them into T-bills, I guess, which are going to go broke because the money's worthless. This is worth zero. Well, maybe it's worth 1 cent. This is what's in T-bills. You're still in this. You have to get out of this system because it's all collapsing. And that's what he's saying is bank deposits are, so $1 trillion went out of the banking system, yet why didn't it go into gold? Because people don't know. Gold has zero risk and a huge reward because the return's going to be huge once it starts taking off, which is going to happen soon. What this also says is with the $1 trillion out of the banking system means the banks are going to collapse because they need the deposits, right? So if you pull the money out, what is a bank? Without the deposit, the bank is nothing. The bank can't do anything. So if I have no money in the bank, what does the bank have to invest in the T-bills or loaning the money out for cars and houses? Because if they don't have money, they can't operate. So a lot of these banks are going to go out. Now he says they're going to be a bail-in, but according to Alligator, it won't be a bail-in. It'll be a bail-out, which means a bail-in, the bank's going to steal your money. Because in the banking world right now, it's not your money in the bank. It's their money, which makes totally illegal, totally no sense. If I put $50,000 in a bank, it's my money. You're holding it for me, and you're going to pay me interest to keep it there. It's not your money. It's my money. So this is the part that blows my mind is that this idiot thinks – this is why it's hard for me to watch these guys. This idiot thinks it'll be a bail-in. It's not. There's no such thing. They can't steal your money. There'll have to be bailouts, that's what the Federal Reserve is for. The central bank is to pay you. It's to ensure your money is good. Well, that doesn't go away. Now, the fact they don't have enough money, that's what you have to understand. So you can't leave your money in the bank because it won't end up. So you don't want your money in a CD, in a money market, in an annuity, any banking products or any products that are dollars you don't want your money in. So that's really the problem. And so he's showing this $1 trillion. He really doesn't know how to explain very well. Again, he's a stockbroker. He was a stockbroker. He sells this shit. So really he doesn't. The problem with most of these guys and why I get frustrated, they're not economists. but they're trying to act like economists. They think they know what they're talking about in the economy without really knowing what they're talking about. It's like I know what I'm talking about in football, but you'll listen to another guy and he'll give you this bullshit like we got Saturday. Well, the dog is 63, 65% in the Mountain West. If it's total between, that's not analytical. That's not a good way to bet. And the game and the bet lost. Not that all my picks win. I'm certainly not Madoff. I can't go 100%. I can't fake the bet or make the bet after the game's over. I actually have to do it like I do now. So this is the problem between a professional handicapper and these amateurs. They're just trying to sell you. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm trying to give you the facts. You choose. But I'm giving you the pick, right? I'm giving you KC over. That's a fact. That's my bet. That's what you should do. And I give you 10 reasons why. Off a loss, Mahomes, Kelsey's back, Jacksonville doesn't have good defense, So I can give you sound fundamental reasons why you should bet the game over. And most of this game should go over. Now, there's always the fluke where Oklahoma SMU's 28-11, and then Oklahoma yesterday's another 65-point game. So you're like, what the fuck? But in this case, you get your money out of the banks because even if you keep your money in the bank and the bank doesn't go out, the money's worthless because it's being inflated, which means you're printing the money to zero. Therefore, it's gone. Now, we watched the long-haired guy and Mark McGuire, sit there and doesn't get it. He says, well, the banks control everything. Well, we know that's stupid. They control the governments. JP Morgan runs everything. He price fixes gold. We got that. We're not idiots. We understand the banks run everything. However, what the banks don't get is if they print the dollars to zero, they're going to run nothing. There's nothing for them to run because the dollars are meaningless. That's the part he didn't get. He's not a professional. He's an amateur. So long-haired T-shirt guy is sitting there with, well, the banks run everything, calling this euro dollar, which doesn't exist. The dollar is the dollar. There's US dollar, there's European dollar, there's a British pound. These are all separate currencies for the countries. He didn't understand that. He doesn't get it. So, I mean, that's all. I can't listen to a guy who doesn't have the expertise that's at my level. That's my frustration. That's why I emailed Mark McGuire yesterday or the other day. Said, I'd like to be a guest on your show. I'll teach what everybody needs to know, not this bullshit of coming out with a paper gold dollar and that the world's run by bankers. Well, yeah, we know that, and I could have said it in 5 minutes that you took 25 minutes to say the same fucking thing. But at the end of the day, you go into gold because it's the real asset. It can't be printed. There's no risk. It can't go to zero, and it's going to go to the moon, and all the central banks are buying, so there's demand. There's no demand, however, for this. So the U.S. can say there's demand, and the U.S. can be in their own little world, but all the other countries, 90 countries, want to join BRICS and being part of that. All the oil, everything's going to be priced in gold because they know it's the only thing. They know that if you just have paper, it's going to zero. All the paper goes to zero. That's a fact. That's what will happen. The U.S. will go to zero. So the banks will start crumbling because of these higher interest rates, which you don't know if the U.S. is doing it to kill the golden goose on their own, or they're just too stupid in killing the golden goose. This we don't know. Anyway, so that's the big problem. And that's what these guys just don't get. They're salesmen. They know gold's good, but they don't know why. It's like, well, we all know Mahomes is the best quarterback. Well, yeah, we understand it, but why? Okay, so he's a winner. Or Joe Burrow, or these other guys, or they think that Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, or that CJ Stroud's a good. They have no clue. They're just saying it to hear themselves talk, but they're not really understanding it. So in economics, you cannot print the dollar like nothing's going to happen. right? You cannot just keep printing the dollar. It will not, it's not going to survive if you don't back it by gold. You must have an anchor to it or the dollar goes out. Well, what do you got in the US and the UK is you're printing in the euro, you're printing dollars without a backing. Actually, the whole world. Now they're calling it a credit this or credit. It's bullshit. You're printing the dollar to zero. Forget it's credit. Forget what it is. It's fiat currency, which is money printed by the government. That's what fiat is. It's not real. And I keep thinking of the guy from My Cousin Vinny, and it's fiat. Yeah, it's those our guys in England. Yeah, that was a funny movie. Anyway, so you've got to realize that that's what's happening. And anyway, I'll take some notes on this Bill Holter guy. I was hoping to see Alligator. This was on as good as Gold Australia, the two Australian butters. So they asked their questions. This guy's clueless. And he's a legend. And I'm sitting there laughing, going, if he's a legend, what am I? I mean, I make this guy look like chopped liver. It's just amazing. These are just salesmen, and they're he's a legend, and they build him up like Rude and Reichert and these other guys, and they make them like they know something, and they don't, or Peter Schiff or the other guy, the other salesman, Andy Scheckman. They don't know economics. They can say Austrian economics, but they don't know it. They can't explain it. They can't figure it out. You buy gold, it is not, it's an asset. It's got a value on its own. It doesn't need dollars to be an asset. It is undervalued because they've been price fixing it. You cannot chart it because it's price fixed. And it's so obvious, and yet these guys are looking at a chart. See, as soon as they start looking at a chart on that, it'd be like me looking at New England with Brady. Well, he's not there. Well, yeah, but let's look at the New England chart. It's meaningless. Without Brady, it's meaningless. Tampa now, without Brady, it's meaningless. So you can't look at gold because it's price fixed. And you can't say, well, maybe it'll get to 2,500. That's price fixed. Once the price fix is listed, it's $50,000, chuckleheads. That's the whole point of it. Once you get to that. Anyway, I see that people are going to the game, so I don't want to overextend this. I will talk about this tomorrow. Good luck, everybody, on your bets. I hope you win. I got 3 locks going. I hope they win. And we will see. Right now, I'll update college for next week, start looking for games, and pull my stats in. But first, the general chow is going to be eaten. So have a good day, everybody. We'll get more in economics tomorrow. So keep in mind, there's several different layers of markets. There's Burger King, there's Chinese, and then there's gourmet. There's Ford, there's Toyota, there's Mercedes, there's Ferrari. There's many people who have, some don't have money, some do. Some have it legally, some don't have it legally. Everybody's got their own thing, so just leave them alone and try to hit the niche. You buy gold because it's an asset. The same reason you buy a Mano card. Now, I was just, I'll end with this. I was watching The Wolf on Wall Street, which I think is the stupidest movie. I'm about halfway through it. And in the beginning, Matthew McConaughey is really strange, is talking about all they care about is commission. They don't care about people. And that's what I've been trying to tell you. It's all commission based. It's to get you to sell. But what bothered me is he doesn't tell you to it's all about you buy the stock. And then even if you make $20 a share on it, never to sell it. Always to that, oh, I have this stock. So you sell that to buy this. So it's always to keep you in the game where they can keep the commissions going. And they're trying to scam you into believing you're going to get rich. That's why you're doing it to make money. And so everybody who buys stocks, and then when it's safety, well, get out of the banks, get out of the stocks, buy bonds, which is even worse with inflation. So this is my point with Wall Street. This is why I do not recommend stocks. It's all fixed, and they don't tell you to sell them. And I told you, this is how I play gold stocks. I buy it at 10:30 and I sell it by 3:30. And if I make 60, 70 cents on 1,000 shares, I made $600 or $700. I'm happy as can be. And that's basically what I did. And I made a lot of money in it. Then I bought gold with that. So now I'm into the next thing. I'm out of the stocks into gold, but the difference is gold you can't fuck with. It is, you can't inflate it. You can't print it. You can't find more. Even if they get a new find where in the Amazon, there's all these ounces of gold, they got to mine it and they got to do it. And still the demand is so strong that, it's going to go through the roof. So right now, 1.5% of the assets in the world are in gold. Wait till that hits 10%. And wait, if all the shit's going to hit the fan, imagine if 20 or 30% of the assets are in gold, which is what they should be. Right now, I don't think they count it because the central banks have them all. Then the question is, when the price goes up, the central banks will start selling it. And you're going to pay not 2,000 an ounce for it, but 10,000 an ounce for it. Oh, I did go to the gold store yesterday, just FYI, and I'll repeat this tomorrow. So I bought a 1/4 ounce maple leaf and a 1/10 of an ounce maple leaf. And the 1/4 ounce was $5.30 or $5.40, and the 1/10 was only $2.20. So it cost me $7.50 total. So $2.20. So $5.20 for a 1/4 ounce maple leaf, I thought was a joke. And now all he's doing is he's taking the ounce and dividing it by 4, dividing it by 10, not getting the real prices. Then the guy told me that there's going to be the strike at GM and Ford, which is going to close them down, which is going to cause panic. And then supposedly that's what's going to make gold go up. And I'm like, well, why would that make gold go up? Just because there's a panic. These people aren't smart enough. They just sold $1 trillion and put it into, they put the $1 trillion into bonds, I guess, which is a scam in itself. Here's the gold shelf. Bobby was asking me. So here's a little shelf of gold. You can see the 1/4 ounces and 1/10 of an ounces. He had some bars, and then he had an ounce, and the one on the second, this one is a 1/2 ounce. And these were ounces. He's got some silver bars, and then he's got these. But I'd rather have the coin than the bar, just me personally, because I put them in my little rings. And you can't really do much with the bars. And I just assume. So I got a 1/4 ounce maple leaf. It's a 1/4 ounce of gold. I don't give a fuck if it's a maple leaf for $1. And this was his sell sheet. So this is what they're selling everything for. So I took a picture of that. So in other words, he had gold spot 1925, silver 23. He was selling the gold, a 1 ounce eagle at 2,035, 1/2 ounce at 1135, which was surprising. The 1/4 ounce 550, which is really surprising, and the 1/10 ounce at 250. He's always solid at the 250 for the 10th ounce, which I don't understand. Then he had a Cougaran at 1995, so it's $40 cheaper. The maple leaf at 2010, which is $25 cheaper, and the gold bar at 1975. Silver, he had the silver eagle at 32, the maple leaf at 28, and that was it. Then the 1/4 ounce maple, 529, that's what I bought, and the 1/10 of an ounce maple at 221. And then for silver, he was 26.15 for the round. So we're 5 steps ahead of the game, where we see where it's going to go, and that's where we're way ahead. It's here, and we're here, right? So they're here. We know BRICS, we know inflation, and I got really pissed off at the long hair guy with the T-shirt on Andrew Maguire's, and he said, "Well, nobody knows what's going to happen." And I keep going, "Yeah, we do know what's going to happen. It's very obvious. If you know what's going to happen, then it's a lot easier." Guys who say nobody knows is because they don't know and they can't figure it out. Again, this is an idiot that lost in silver because he doesn't know JP Morgan fixes it. And the idea is not to make money or lose money on gold and silver. It's to accumulate it, and it's to get out of the dollar. So the whole point of this is to get out of this and buy your gold and silver, and then wait for the price to go up. You're not in it to sell so you're not in it. I didn't buy, what did I pay? $5.29 for my quarter ounce gold. I'm not in it to sell it at $5.50. I'm in it when it hits 50,000 an ounce and I get 12,500. Then I might sell it. That's the point. It's not to make $10 on it. So when he loses in the silver, you're trying to understand what the fuck the guy's doing. Sending Daria a picture. She likes my pitch. She likes my looks. She's adorable. So that's really what happens is you're in it to get out. So you have to understand the thought. We're trying to. The dollar is like, I don't know. It's like the Lions. They're a terrible team. You're betting against them, and you're buying gold, which is like Kansas City. So you're getting out of the Lions and into Kansas City. So you're getting out of dollars, which are going to zero, into gold. You know gold's going to go up, but right now you're accumulating it because it's cheap. 2,000 an ounce is cheap. But you got to understand it's going to 50 because it's been held down by COMEX. A, inflation was driving the dollar out, which is forcing everybody into gold. B, and then C, it's the BRICS countries are going to come out with a gold-backed currency and gold for oil, which is going to make the gold price shoot up. So we do understand why gold's going to go up and silver. So to say nobody knows, it's only because he doesn't know. And I hate when somebody says that. Oh, nobody said this. And Mark Maguire said the same thing. He says, "Oh, I've never heard this before." You've never heard that the bankers run everything. I must be like the smartest guy in the world, the smartest economist, because I know all this shit and nobody else seems to know it. And you got this cowboy, and you got Rick Rude and Reichert and all these other Andy Scheckmans are clueless. Wow. But really, I got the master's in it in the 90s in Austrian economics. You can't learn that now. So they're learning Keynesian shit, and they don't have a clue. Where they maybe look at Adam Smith and John Say's law. Maybe they get that a little bit. But they don't understand price fixing. So because I also do football betting and gambling and poker, I get that side of it. So I get a double mix of it. I get a nice mix. In other words, I understand fixed price fixing, just like football games get fixed. So I see that gold is not at the right price. Just like I said, Dallas laying 8.5 is not the right price. It should be 3. Dallas is way overspread. I realize that. I catch that. I catch errors. They don't understand them. So they go, well, if everybody buys gold, it'll go up. No, it won't, because it's price fixed. It's not, the market is not controlling. The free market, where I show you the Montana rookies 100,000, is the free market. It's not price fixed. Gold should be there. But because gold's in a price fixed market and not a free market, therefore gold is not going up, but it's not the real price. And that's what these guys meant. So if everybody in the world bought an ounce of gold, it wouldn't go up because that's got nothing to do with the price. The price is controlled by the derivatives of the paper. It's totally illegal, but since the banks run the government and the court system, what are you going to do? So I think we need the rock to go rock bottom. The JP Morgan guys, and or Ric Flair needs to put them in a figure four so they can't get out. So they'll submit and say, okay, we'll let gold go free. Anyway, we know that's what's happening. We know it's just a matter of time till it does because of the Russian, Chinese, BRICS, oil and gold, and the dollar collapsing. It is collapsing. I don't care if the banks are running it. They're collapsing it because they're idiots. They do not understand. They think you can just keep printing it. That's why they're not buying gold, because they think we'll just keep printing the dollar, even though the dollar will have no value. So looking ahead, as we are, that's where we are now. And looking ahead, where I'm at and you're at is we'll buy all the gold we can at this price. It's cheap. And then we'll wait till the price goes to 50,000 an ounce. Then we'll maybe sell it if we need to. Who knows what's going to happen? Anyway, so back, I'll watch some football now, but back to this Wolf on Wall Street. I really hate Leonardo DiCaprio. I hated him in Titanic. I hate him here. There's something I don't like about him. And what is Margot Robbie doing in the movie? She looks like an idiot in the movie. And, so that's the thing. These actors and actresses are a brand, and they've got to play the right brand, right? They're not playing the right brand. Like, she does that, and then it's like, well, yeah, I'm going to look at you a lot different than I did. So they don't get that either. Anyway, so we'll watch some more. But basically, do not listen to stockbrokers, and please do not listen to money managers, because they are in it for the commission, not you. They don't give a fuck about you. The banks don't give a fuck about you. Get your money out of the bank before you can't. They are about to collapse. $1 trillion of money going out is not healthy for banks. They need the money in. But then the people putting their money in T-bills are going to lose it because they're getting 3% and inflation's 10%. So they're saying inflation's 2 or 3% to get you in it, thinking, well, you're getting 3 or 4% on the T-bill. And inflation is, so even at best case, you're making 1%. The problem is the inflation is probably 20%. You're getting 2, so you're losing 18% on your money. $1 trillion. These guys are idiots. So again, these are people that are clueless. They have no idea what they're doing, and they're just throwing their money away. And then they're going to say, "Oh, I didn't know Madoff was a scam. I know I was making money." But I didn't know how. And when I asked, it was like, don't ask, don't tell. And I know I'm making all this money, so I won't ask. And then when he goes bust, and I lose, now I'm going to get all like, oh, geez, he stole my money. No, you're an idiot. You didn't ask. You didn't, what do I tell you in football? If you make $1,000 yesterday, you bet 500 a day. That's it. You don't want to bet 2,000 and lose it. It's hard to make money and win, but when you do win, you don't give it back. And that's really the whole point. If you're in a Madoff, you don't know how he's making it, you got to think something's up, but I keep getting this money every month. At some point, you've got to sell it, take your money, because you know it ain't going to keep going. Just like a dice at craps, you know the 7's coming. So if you hit 4 or 5 passes in a row, or 4 or 5 points, the 9 and the 8 keep hitting, and you've got money and you're pressing it. At some point, you need to take your money off, because the 7 is going to come. Don't think the 7's not coming. So you have to understand that and take your profit. It's always about taking your winnings, right? That's the key to life, to gambling. You meet a girl and you like her. Well, you got to ask her out, because if you like her and want to go out, you got to ask her out. Otherwise, there's no point in it. Or otherwise, you're going to lose her to somebody else. She's not just going to keep waiting. So the message there is, don't keep waiting. The only thing we can wait for is gold because we know it's going to go up. So we buy as much as we can. To get out of this. We got to get out of this before it's worthless. And then we get into gold now before it goes to the moon. So that's your lesson today. All right, let's go watch some football. Have a good day. Good luck. Again, free pick is Kansas City over and Indy Houston under. And 3 locks going today. We'll talk about that tomorrow. A little more economics. We'll review the college games and look ahead, and we'll review the pros and look ahead. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Good luck. Hope you make a lot of money. Take care.